Welcome to the nation. It's time for another game review. Today we take a look at Ready at Dawn's The Order 1886. Ready at Dawn is probably most known for their work on the PlayStation Portable with games like Dexter as well as the God of War mobile games and its remake to the PlayStation 3. From its initial reveal at E3 2013, The Order has been an interest of mine. A game not focused on multiplayer but on story, on the world, on bringing someone's imagination to life. But does the game manage it? That's the question that we'll examine. Welcome to the world of The Order 1886. We're thrust into the role of Sir Galahad, a member of the Knights of the Round Table whose job in Victorian London is to wage war versus the half-breeds, supernatural creatures far beyond that of an average man. But all is not as it seems within the Order, and the year 1886 will shake it to its very foundation. The characters in The Order 1886 for me were a little bit more interesting than most. I think for those that know something about the Knights of the Round Table and King Arthur and that kind of mythos, there are some very interesting kind of nods towards it. Galahad is a character very familiar to the principles of his knight, who he's named for, Sir Galahad. Next up, another character that I think most people don't examine is the Order itself. While it seems very standard of a kind of an ancient secret organization, it clearly has a spin on it with that of the Knights of the Round Table. The world in and of itself, probably my favorite character throughout the entire game because the world is a piece of the story, is a steampunk Victorian London, and it is done very well and is probably the most compelling piece of the game. Other characters include Nikola Tesla, Lady Egwene, the half-breeds who are these superhuman, supernatural beasts such as lycans, like werewolves, and the Resistance, who obviously in any story of this case, a secret organization definitely has to have some opposing person, i.e. the Resistance trying to defy the government. So what about the sound? The sound of the game musically is great. It caught my eye just as it's supposed to do, and it felt very much like a film's soundtrack, a piece put together for specific pieces of a film, and I think that that is done well. The cities seem fairly alive. The only problem is that during my stream, while I didn't notice it, many of the people from the UK commented on the horrible voice acting in the game. So for those that are from the UK or really notice voice acting, please pay attention that that is a pretty big issue all in all with the game. Visually, now this is where this game starts to shine. This is the best looking game on consoles, period. The world is dark yet has this haunting beauty, and you can see the London that we know, that Victorian London that we know, but there's a twist on it. This steampunk, this kind of darker world that is brought about by this supernatural power is still there. And the biggest thing about the visuals that I want to note is it is indistinguishable, almost indistinguishable, the transition between cutscene and game, to the point where I sometimes lost a QTE because I was not prepared. I thought I was still looking at a cutscene. But now that we've covered the world of the game, let's hit the sticks and take a really quick look at the gameplay. So where does the gameplay stand? Easily, the gameplay is probably the area that is the weakest of the game. It is the place where you can find the most gripes. And all the gameplay can fall into kind of one of three broad categories: stealth and or QTE sections, cover shooting sections, and contained exploration sections. The stealth sections of the game are the most frustrating, since being detected results in instant death. This, combined with a decent length between cutscenes, can have players like myself repeating entire sections of gameplay, up to 10 minutes in some cases. Developers, please recognize that if you are going to create instant failure states in games, use checkpoints liberally. Secondly, do not have QTEs in the stealth sections. I found myself repeatedly dying because I pressed a button too soon. This idea is that I can't sneak up and do the action I want to. I have to wait for the perfect moment. That all in all led to far more frustration than I think should have been found in the area. The gameplay mechanics for the cover shooting is solid as well, nothing groundbreaking, and it's a nice change of pace throughout the game. It works simply: as you reach a point, waves of enemies will come at you, or you can charge these enemies and you will take them as you proceed to a next point. It's fairly done well, and the weapons feel different and interesting. The last piece of the game is the contained exploration, where you are forced to search a specific area for items to drive the narrative along. And you also have the chance to kind of see the effects you've put on the world through different newspapers and different pieces of collectibles or just general items that you can find around the world. simple nods as well to the time period. Now let's get into controversy. Most of the press leading up to the release of this game were based off of a playthrough, which took somebody 5 hours to do and was clearly somebody trying their best to get as much and get views. They were getting the videos up as quickly as possible. Now, while many people are talking about Linked, my playtime is about 8 hours. That's with 30 failures. You can actually watch the majority of my gameplay and my walkthrough of the game at the end of this video. Just click on the link and you will be taken directly to it. And I'm far from the best gamer, so I do feel that's an average time. But please understand, I am in the camp of, as long as the experience is enjoyable, then it is worth the purchase price. Is it always that fact? No, not for everybody. Everybody has their own prerogative. And if you want more of my thoughts on that, I actually have a video coming out about it where you can click right here to go ahead and take yourself over to it. Now on to my experience with the game. I was on the developer before this game came out because they were constantly talking about cinematic feel. Now this was used mostly as an argument for black bars taking up 25% of the screen, 30 FPS, and decisions that in my opinion had a lot more to do with the power of the console than just their vision. Saying all of that, I can't argue with results. This game feels like a movie. Many would say Uncharted feels like playing a movie. Uncharted feels like a game, just with many movie elements. This feels like a movie that you are playing. Cutscenes play out. The gameplay is very... It feels as though you're completing different sections or chapters in a movie, and it is done extremely well. This is the standard that I now hold, quote-unquote, games that feel like movies too. The idea that I felt like I was playing a narrative. I felt that I was being driven along this path of someone telling me a story, and it was done well. Amazing? No. But it was still done well, and I think many people failed to see that. All in all, I never felt like I was playing this game. I felt like I was experiencing it. Frustration may kick in, but at the same time, I felt like I was experiencing something rather than just playing it. But where does this game stand, all in all, in terms of the average gamer? Somebody who's gonna pick it up. I'm gonna start off with how much I think people should pay for this game. People out there should pay no more than $30, the average gamer. If you're someone who enjoys the cinematic feel of the Telltale games, enjoys interactive stories, this is a feature that, bar none, in terms of style, graphics, can be compared to. Telltale does a great job with their games, but they do not have the budget that, or achieve visually what this game does. Myself, I game shared this, so I did only pay $30 for it, and I felt fully, and I felt satisfied with that price, the amount that I paid for the game. Now, many people still want this arbitrary out of 10 score, and for me, the game gets a 7.5 out of 10. The game story-wise is still slightly above average, what is seen today at least, in terms of stories and games, and its mechanics, while frustrating in some parts, work as intended, and I never really felt cheated in a death. I always understood it was my fault for not adhering to the mechanics that I had been given. Thank you for tuning in to our review here on Nation Awkward of the Order 1886. If you enjoyed it, definitely leave a thumbs up, comment down below with your thoughts in the video, follow us on Twitter, and all our other social networking links down below in the description. And I hope that you enjoyed the video one more time. Thank you for taking the time to watch it, and until next time, this has been Prodigy, and remember, it's always okay to be a little bit awkward.